Hello, welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this Texas abortion law that has passed, and essentially the Supreme Court, while they didn't rule on it, they just let it stand. And there's some areas of this law that, minus the fact it's completely wrong and unconstitutional and all that, there's some very blatantly incorrect areas of this law that I think, if it's brought to court at the proper time, that it will be struck down on bases other than unconstitutionality. In fact, when I first heard of one of the provisions, I have never seen a law that had this particular provision in all of law school and all of my 30 years of practicing law. I've never seen something that is so broad with this particular provision that I really believe that it's a great opportunity when it's put into action that it can be brought to court. Now, let me tell you what it is, and then let me explain the legal principle why I don't think it'll hold water. If somebody, a citizen, any citizen, wants to bring a lawsuit under this law for somebody else who has tried to get an abortion, the law allows that to happen. So essentially, this person who had nothing to do with getting the abortion, had nothing to do with going to the doctor, had nothing to do with trying to give the abortion, had nothing at all to do other than they know that another person wanted to get abortion. They're the ones that are going to fall under this particular law and bring the lawsuit against the person who tried to or did get the abortion. Now, first, let me tell you why this is so important as to how it can be attacked and under what legal principle. Let me first tell you what it's called. It's called standing. Okay, it is a very important legal principle when any lawsuit is brought, when anybody sues anybody, in state and federal and criminal and civil and immigration and tax and anything, they have to have standing. Okay, and what does that mean? That means they have to somehow be injured by the nature of what is happening in the lawsuit. So, for example, just to make it easy, person A enters into a contract with person B, and there's a breach of contract. So, person A sues person B. What is the standing? The standing is that person A entered into the contract. Okay? Well, likewise, any type of case, let's talk patent law. Let's talk patent law. Somebody files for a patent, and somebody way off somewhere sues this person for violation of their trademark. And what is the standing? Well, that person has some similar business with a similar name, and they are being monetarily hurt, they say, by someone trying to get a patent on their product, on a different product but the same name. Now, how does this standing issue come into effect in this Texas abortion law? Well, they say that any citizen can bring a lawsuit against the woman who tried to get the abortion. Now, what standing does this person have? What standing does this citizen have? None. The citizen doesn't have any standing. There's been no damage to that person. There's nothing you can point to in any way that, other than what they're going to claim their religious belief or whatever it is, but that's not standing. I can't even think of a coherent argument that would allow an independent third party who has nothing to do with the abortion being able to bring the lawsuit on behalf of this particular law. So I believe that this law is going to be struck down because of the standing issues. And while there might be other parts that may be held up, there's no way that any citizen can just bring a lawsuit for violation of the provisions of this law. I mean, why don't they say that? To me, honestly, that's as ridiculous as saying anybody on the entire planet who disagrees with abortion will be able to bring a lawsuit against the lady who decided to get the abortion. That's how ridiculous it is. There is no way that it's going to withhold the standing issue in a court of law. It makes me wonder who wrote this law. Seriously, it really makes me wonder. I think the reason they wrote the law is not so much that it'll be upheld, but that it'll ultimately go up to the Supreme Court for a merits hearing on the actual issue of abortion in the hopes that it overturns Roe v. Wade. I mean, anybody who's had a month of law school knows that the standing issue will not stand up in this particular case, but they can certainly bring it all the way up if they want. And then the Supreme Court of the U.S. can grant certiorari, and as it stands now, who knows what's going to happen. So, at least for now, if somebody brings a lawsuit against you in Texas under this law, you need to fight back, and you need to claim they have no standing to bring such a lawsuit, and that provision in the particular statute is unconstitutional, the standing issue. Okay? So hopefully it will bear out what I'm saying, and at least that provision, which is a big provision of that atrocious law, will be stricken as being unconstitutional. Okay.